So here are three ways that you can know if you're headed in the wrong direction and identify if you're headed in the right direction. So you can use them either way. The first one is things around you don't look familiar. Just like I mentioned when I talked about the car and how sometimes you're driving and when you're driving, you get out of sorts and lost and you're like, I don't remember this being the way, or you hear rerouting. When things are not familiar to you, it could be because you're headed in the wrong direction. Now, I don't mean that this means that you're not stepping outside of your comfort zone or you're not exploring, but it's really to the point where you have an uneasiness. When you have an uneasiness or you really feel like you're not moving in the direction that you should be going, or even maybe you start to question yourself, and it seems unfamiliar and you can't put your finger on it, it may mean that you're not headed in the direction that you need to go. Number two, you don't have peace. Listen, we live in a world of chaos as it is with noise and distractions all the time. But the truth is, as you're walking in life and as you're determining your next steps in your family, your finances, in your community, in your relationships, you got to have peace. If you don't have peace, meaning you're up at night, challenged by it, or you're struggling to identify if that's the way to go, or you're not settled in your spirit, in your gut, that means that this may not be the right direction for you. I remember a time I was looking for a job and I kept applying for this job over and over and over and over and over. And each time I applied, something about the job just didn't sit well with me. And although I had the opportunity to get the job, I realized, you know what? This wasn't the right place for me. Now, the blessing is I did have another opportunity, but it wasn't the place for me. And it wasn't because the company was bad. It was just because the more and more I sat with, the more and more I prayed about it, the more and more I realized I didn't have peace about taking that position. And then the third way you know that you're headed in the right direction, or maybe you're not in the right direction, is you ask yourself, how did I get here? That's a big one. Because if you're asking yourself, how did I get here? Or you're asking yourself, how did I end up here? That may mean that you're totally off course, that you went in a different direction. And that's okay. Because when you ask yourself, how did I get here? That's a recognition that you are not in the space that you thought you would be. Now, it doesn't mean a bad thing because we know that all things work together for the good. So even in those situations, you may find peace and joy and find a new opportunity. But those are the ways that I gut check myself every day to make sure that I'm not wasting time, to make sure that I'm not wasting what God has given me, and to make sure that I am doing the work that I'm called to do. So I hope that helps you.